Yeah, I'll retweet it from my other account. Awesome to have you here, GM Isaac from Zora. GM, mate.
GM, mate. Thanks for having me here. Very excited to do this.
Yeah, awesome. We're excited to welcome you. Mike, got Mike Good here also. As always, Mike, you're sporting a nice hard hat with a green shirt today. GM.
GM guys.
Yeah, so this is kind of a free flowing conversation with Isaac, who is a PM at Zora. We're going to get into the Nouns Builder tool, DAO project. We might even discuss the semantics there. But Isaac is a PM at Zora. Again, a couple of disclaimers. This live stream is part of a prop house win that Mike and I put up, and we were voted on to receive ETH in exchange for hosting these kinds of sessions. So that was a prop house round. I believe Zora voted for this one. I personally own, I don't own BuilderDAO tokens, but I own Lil Nouns. I own MF. I own a large number of MF or BuilderDAO tokens, which is a DAO built with Builder Tool. But yeah, I want to just start off with that disclaimer. This is not financial advice, not legal advice. There are, very significant issues potentially that are worth looking into. I definitely don't recommend that anyone buy any NFTs or tokens at all. If anyone asks me, I always tell them to stay away. And yeah, I own Lil Nouns. I own those things I disclose. Mike, I think you own BuilderDAO directly. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I say do your own research, right? Like everyone should do their own research into it. But yeah, I got my first BuilderDAO token independently today, which was awesome. I figured, hey, Isaac was coming on. We were going to talk about Nouns Build. I should have a token.
Very nice.
So yeah, I finally got there. It is. I call it the Mick Builder token because it's got the McDonald's color vibe.
Hey, I love it.
Yeah, it's a nice one. So yeah, I've also bought another token, fractionally with some people, token number 27 in the beginning. So there's like a couple of us that kind of own that together. And then, yeah, I own a bunch from a bunch of these different builder DAOs. As soon as they popped up, I started buying tokens all over the place from Idea DAO, Lil Toads, I'm a big buyer in, a couple others. So yeah, it's really exciting to have you here and to just kind of hear more about the tool and the team behind it.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate the getting involved with BuilderDAO. Very excited to see what you guys are doing. I'm very excited for this conversation. Yeah.
Awesome. And Isaac, you work for Zora.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so obviously you're paid by Zora. Zora is sort of it's even hard to think about how to describe it. Zora created Nouns Builder. Zora is a large token holder in the Builder DAO, which sort of creates product, I guess, for Builder. But you work for Zora. How can we understand that? Did I get all that right? It's sort of a complicated relationship, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it would be really useful if we jump onto the original proposal for Nouns around the involvement for Nouns Builder as well as Zora. I think that would be really useful. I could share that link here directly as well. It's about 167. Yep, that's right. And yeah, I think I'm currently a PM at Zora. And my remit or my main responsibility right now is to work on Nouns Builder and really help us transition into the open source era. We've recently open sourced Nouns Builder, and one of the reasons why it's such an important moment for us to open source the code base is that Nouns Builder from day one is a public good infrastructure. We want to proliferate the Nowish model and the Nowish meme over to the broader crypto space. And with this tool itself, it makes it very easy for any communities, existing communities, new communities, to create their own DAO using the tool, even if they're not technical. And it does it in a way that really honors the Nounish model around daily auctions, on-chain governance, and transparency within DAO decision making. So purely from if you're asking more so around like the logistics side of things, my main goal with Nowitz Builder at the moment is, I actually wrote this. I was just sharing this with the DAO around what my role is. Just give me one sec as I bring up my Discord just to ensure that I'm reciting what I said. Yeah. So some of the questions I've been thinking about would be, how do we continuously improve Nowitz Builder's user experience in an open source environment? How do we onboard external contributors? How do we educate users about the tool? How do we support them? So that's one. And the other one is also around like, what kind of user problems are we currently seeing? And how do we decide which user problems should we be tackling first? And what sort of engineering support do we need to address them? So that's that. There's also the part where I'm thinking about ways to get more communities to use Nowitz Builder to create Nounish DAOs. I'm very excited of the potential opportunity of partnering up with existing DAOs like Gitcoin. Like, I just see it's such a natural in a way where we're both DAOs, or like DAOs currently are very much around building really cool things for crypto, cool products, cool tools, cool public goods, and I'm really in the mindset of how do we partner with these existing communities and provide them the tools that allow them to experiment with the Nounish DAO model. So that's one. So yeah, that's it. Those three main things are currently what I'm thinking about very much on a day-to-day basis as the PM at Zora for Nowitz Builder.
Love it. Let me go back just for a second. This is Noun's proposal 167 on Builder Protocol. This is the one you were referencing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, this is amazing. Amazing proposal. I remember I looked at it when it first came up, but I haven't since. And I remember the first time I didn't understand this at all. But now that we've had whatever 100 days or so plus of auctions, this really has a whole new meaning, this visual here.
That's right. It is. I think like one of the things that's really cool about the artwork, I think you guys have probably did ask me about the artwork. Did you guys want to talk about it now, or did you have further questions?
Yeah, let's go into the artwork and maybe into Figma too.
Yeah. Yep. The Figma files for Nowitz Builder is actually open sourced. The artwork and assets are open source, CC0 as well. Let me just ensure that it's public and everyone can see it. Let me share it. Anyone can link you. Okay. Sharing it right here.
Wow, it's like unwrapping a Christmas present.
There you go. So that's the Figma file that.
Amazing, and we'll make sure to share this with the viewers as well, in a place where they can find it for sure.
Yeah. Let's actually really talk about the artwork. And I think it would be quite useful to also bring up one of Jacob's tweets in that entire thread about the branding and the noggles and the 3 lines that you see that represents Builder as well. I think that'd be really useful. if you have the
Okay.
link.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about the three lines, and just like kind of the center of all these tokens and how that came about, and what your thoughts are on that, and the team's thoughts on that. That'd be great.
Yeah, I think the one thing that we can all align on is the fact that the one major advantage, or like one unfair advantage, I would even call it, is the ability to really build things together collectively. And from day one, even for Nouns and Nouns Builder, it's always to become open source, and it's to leverage like CCO visuals, and that's one of the reasons why we actually went with Unicode. If you haven't realized that, actually all these symbols that you see directly in the artwork, they're actually Unicode symbols. And why Unicode? It's because we want these symbols to act as open containers that's free for interpretation. We want the community to fill them with their own meaning. And we want them to really go crazy with the artwork, like make it in a way that suits the community, that represents their community, that represents their brand, their identity. So that's one of the reasons why we went with the Unicode symbols. And I think this, I really have to give full credits to the team, the Imagination Studio team at Zora. They were the geniuses behind that came up with these amazing artwork and sort of these layers for us to play around with, to create with. And it's ultimately a way for us to convey, a sense of progress and a momentum in the spirit of building collectively, as a DAO, as a community, as a group of people coming to build really cool things together. So, yeah, that's one aspect of it. And then the other aspect of it is actually the idea of passports as well. When the Imagination Studio team told me about it, I was like, wow, the idea of passports being represented through artwork is actually really powerful, because it's universally understood as an idea that helps you understand, like it connects to the notion of belonging to something, like a passport, and that also directly ties into flags, right? Like that's what most of the time it's a way to symbolize united groups of people. What might flags look like for these emergent on-chain communities that are coming out through Nouns Builder, or even through other communities who are slowly coming into the Nounish ecosystem? Like, what would be the best way for them to represent themselves? So a flag, that direction of using a flag as a symbol was a very powerful sort of notion for us that we really wanted to lean into with the artwork. It's instantly recognizable. It's unique, but it in on itself, it's a tool for further creation in whatever interpretation that you might have for these layers that we've created for the community.
Amazing.
And I think you meant to pull up that tweet, but I don't think you showed it. I just messaged it to you.
Yeah, I'm going to get that on screen. Isaac, if you don't mind, can we go from all these visuals to just one for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So here's this tweet. This tweet from Jacob Zora. Yeah. So this is part of a Twitter thread, which I love, about what the main Nouns Builder logo means. Yeah. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. I think Jacob really, really put this very succinctly around those lines representing. It's almost kind of like if you're in a vortex, or like almost in a tunnel with like strobing lights. It's kind of like, have you, like, how I'd say it's like very much like traveling through a wormhole, or like traveling through a portal that teleports you to the future. And that future of nouns, or like nounish model, eventually is to build things together more creatively together, more effectively together, more productively together. So that's how I interpret the builder logo and how it ties into the nouns needs and model.
Yeah. So those 3 lines on the right, those are Unicode, right?
Yep. Yeah.
What does that mean exactly? What is a Unicode character?
That's actually really a really good question. I was just looking up about Unicodes yesterday. You know what? I think this might be a good one-on-one for the audience as well. Like if you want to bring up like unicode.org, it should redirect you to home.unicode.org.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm honestly asking for myself because I sort of think I know what Unicode is, but I want to really be sure.
Unicode is having like a renaissance moment right now with all these like little Unicode collections coming out, and it's
jump into the technical quick start guide, and then probably read the first paragraph, and you'd see how it actually really ties into the whole idea of collective creation and collaboration.
Yeah.
I think I think when I first learned about why the Unicode symbols were chosen for the artwork for BuilderDAO, I was absolutely mind blown, and it was just for me. I was like, wow, I did not realize like how something that felt so. I guess like we take these things for granted most of the time. Like, all right, these are just symbols, but there's actually a lot of meaning behind it, a lot of work behind it. There's actually a lot of reasoning behind why a Unicode looks a certain way and why they were voted in by the subcommittee of Unicode to be on the keyboards that we use today as well. So specifically back to your question around like the 3 lines, it's just looking into the future. Like you're looking through a lens, a pair of glasses, or like a pair of binoculars, or a kaleidoscope, or a telescope. It's looking into the future, and those lines would kind of represent, the building blocks towards that future that we're working towards.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm looking all through this right now. Wow. It's really great. You guys kind of like brought it down to the fundamentals. And it's a really cool way and thing to kind of build off of. So I love that Jacob was thinking that deeply into all of this. It's great.
Do you know is Unicode on chain?
That's actually a good question. I don't like these arts, or like just Unicode in general.
Yeah, Unicode in general.
I'm actually not sure. I mean, it would make sense for them to be on chain, but I don't know if it's necessarily the case. At least for now, you never know.
I think it is. I think it is because the most recent prop on nouns. I could be entirely wrong because I don't know about this like that much, but I believe the most recent prop on nouns 249 is nouns block graffiti, and they're saying that they're putting Unicode noggles all through the blockchain into their validators. Graffiti flags can be, So
wow.
Yeah, so I guess there's like, if this prop passes, there will be like people adding Noggle Unicodes into their like validators and whatever that really means. So I assume you can, which is interesting.
Yeah, very exciting. I feel like we're like you said, it's going through a renaissance, and where we're seeing a whole new generation of new symbols that represent us as a society. I think it's very exciting to see this happening right before our eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
And not just see it, but build it.
Right? That's right. To be a part of it and to facilitate these these sort of building blocks as well. I think that's a very powerful movement for everyone. At Zora, in crypto, and DAO and Nouns, it's a very powerful movement for everyone.
Yeah, so let's see if we can just kind of walk through nouns.build. And actually, as I do that, have you one thing I struggle with sometimes is what to call this. There's sort of builder DAO, there's builder, there's nouns.build. What's when you what's the proper nomenclature?
As a tool, it's just called Nouns Builder, and then there's Builder DAO. That in a way is, think of it as the stewards of Nouns Builder. Like it's a community that's going to decide how Nouns Builder could best proliferate the Nounish model. That's what Builder DAO is going to do collectively, as a community of people coming together, as a community of builders coming together, deciding how do we best proliferate the Nounish model to the other parts of crypto. That's one. And then Nouns Builder is the tool that allows them to proliferate that Nounish model. And Nouns.build is very much just, as far as I understand, it's a domain, it's a website domain. Because you can't currently get Nouns.builder. I reckon we would have loved to do that if we could, but build was probably what was available. So we went with that as a website domain. Yeah.
That makes sense. What as a PM for Zora and for this product or tool, what kinds of things would you like to see users, or are you curious for users to do with it?
Yeah, I think one really cool thing that I would love to see is, so for context, there is a proposal earlier today that was passed for Neocry's residency, engineering residency, for Builder DAO. You could probably jump onto the Builder DAO page, and you could find that proposal for that. Yep. Activity. Yep. Residency for neocry.eth. Not this one. The one before. Yep. Yep. That's right. What I would love now is just DAOs in general, and what I definitely want to see from them is really experimenting with different ways of different interpretations of what the auction mechanism could look like. So at the moment with Nouns, it's 1 per day. Builder DAO, it's also 1 per day. I want to see DAOs tweaking or playing around with different auction intervals. What would it mean if it's 1 an hour? What would it mean if it's 1 a month, or one every couple of months? Would that potentially, how would that change engagement levels? How would that change DAO activity? I think that would be really cool to experiment with. I guess founder structure wise, I know we're getting a lot of user feedback around people wanting to use a safe, a Gnosis safe wallet as the main founder, or the wallet that has the vetoing power. So yeah, I think those are really valid experiments that we should try and really give it a go and see how that changes the governance side of things as well. But I guess the point is we want them to. I think the other thing as well, it's also the voting, the voting process itself. If we could see people try different sort of time locks. If you look at Nouns, they've got, I think, a 10-day or 12-day process for entire proposal. We'd love to see DAOs coming out of Nouns Builder trying with a different voting period. or like even a time lock period. Yeah, I think that would be really exciting to see how quickly proposals could get passed. So I think one point that a tweet that I came across recently around by Martin on Twitter. He's from Explorer Grants. Shout out to Martin. He's doing some amazing work with Explorer Grants. What if there's a sub DAO that actually runs on a different, a compound governance contract with a much quicker, much smaller voting period instead of a 4 or 5 day period? It could be as short as 2 days, but point is like things act more quickly. That way, proposals could get passed quickly, and then projects could get funding more quickly as well. Obviously, the threshold would be probably like the threshold for the funding sizes would probably be like the upper limit would probably like a smaller one such as 5 ETH, 2 ETH, 3 ETH. But I feel like these are some of the things that I like to see DAOs experiment with using Nance Builder.
Yeah, those are all really interesting to me. I've thought about a quick time lock and a quick voting period. And I think that would be pretty interesting. It would give everyone heart attacks because you'd have to be so vigilant potentially. But yeah, that's pretty interesting thing. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, no, we've seen some people start to do some interesting things. I would love to see the longer cadence. Like, I would love to see a DAO try out the 1 month cadence and see what happens there with the auctions. Maybe after giving out a couple founders tokens or something, just to kind of get things moving. But yeah, super interesting. What kinds of things are you guys? What kinds of things do you guys have in the works? What's the future of Nouns Build look like?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I think it came in a really timely manner as well, with Neo coming on board as a resident engineer and really open sourcing this to the community so that we start accepting external contributions. I think step one immediately, the future would be really establishing a really good workflow with open sourcing the code base and seeing the community getting more involved in building the tool together alongside us. I think there's a lot of power in that. There have been amazing ideas coming from the community, and we feel like open sourcing it is probably one of the best ways for us to capture all that amazing energy and ideas and turning that into actual features that we ship. So that's step one. And I guess the other feature that we've been I've been tinkering with is what would it look like if we collaborated with the likes of Juicebox or like Gitcoin? Like, can we do co-branded prop house rounds with these amazing communities who already have an amazing community of builders? Can we work with them? Can we work with these DAOs to set up a prop house round that makes it easy for people to build tools that integrate our protocols together? Like, is there a way for I think DAOs are coming to see it's like they love the ability for on-chain governance. They love the daily auctions of nouns, but they want more control over like treasury management. They want a way that helps them manage their treasury in a much more effective, efficient way. Is there a way that we can integrate an external DAO tooling that makes it easy for them to do that? Because at the end of the day, if the goal is for us to make it much easier for emerging communities, on-chain communities to create together, there needs to also be the tools and the right products that support all those, long-term goals that they have. So that's one thing. And also, we are definitely taking into consideration how, as a DAO, we could be working with with different types of DAOs as well. Like I think we traditionally have been working with a lot of NFT native DAOs. What if we worked with DAOs that don't typically fall into the NFT space, but have a lot of, I guess, product alignment with Nouns Builder? So I mentioned previously, I think Juicebox is one of the more exciting ones that I'm seeing nowadays around what they're doing with treasury management. So yeah, like those are a couple of things off the top of my head. I'm sure more will come along the way, but I guess in the immediate future, mainly from a product development point of view, we want to make it easy for DAOs to create proposals, and one of the ways to do that is actually by making proposal templates really easy to use as well. So instead of having to go through, like, if you're a non-technical DAO creator, with which a lot of our DAOs actually are, like, a lot of them don't necessarily have very deep technical expertise, but that's okay. I think that's one of the good things about one of the benefits of using Nouns Builder is that it's user friendly, it's easy to pick up, and we feel like proposal templates are a step towards that and really making it really easy for users to for just much better user experience altogether. So proposal templates are one. We also want to work on the onboarding side of things as well for Nouns Builder. We've seen a lot of requests around sort of not instructions, but rather like how to for certain features on Nouns Builder. We are working towards getting like an educational hub up for Nouns Builder. So it could live on something like nouns.built/learn, and makes it really easy for people to get up to speed with the tool itself. I think Noun Center has really set a really good example of what that could look like. So that's where we're going to, I guess, look towards for inspiration for this educational hub that I've just mentioned. So yeah, lots of things in the pipeline to improve user experience.
Yeah, that's exciting to hear. I was just gonna say, or was just gonna ask, where you think somebody should like begin when wanting to start a DAO, or to dive into nouns.build. And yeah, I think /learn would be an amazing resource. And yeah, nouns.center is a great kind of template for setting up a resource like that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. Like it's just really making it easy for users to start using, without having to feel like they don't have the right support. But like sometimes it's just giving them all the right information in a single place. That's all they need to get started with. So yeah.
Do you think this will be something that's kind of community driven, or prop house rounds around something like this, or something that like the internal team is going to work on?
The Nouns Builder /learn.
Yeah.
I think that would be purely from a content perspective. We would definitely want to work with the community and see what would be most useful to new users, existing users. That's one bit. But building the actual page itself, building the actual hub itself would be very much something we do. Something that Zora would take on alongside NeoCry, who's the resident engineer. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Can't wait to see what he kind of dives into. It's going to be great.
And open source contributions, obviously. That's one thing that we really want to double down on as Nouns Builder. It's just to see the community coming together to build this tool together with us. Yeah.
Yeah. Is Neo's scope very clearly defined, or is it left open a little bit for him to kind of come in and see, what he wants to work on?
It is fairly scoped out. It is very clear as to what he will be doing in the first 3 months. Feature development, a bit of DevRel, and really onboarding the open source contributors. So these are things that he will be working on with us. But obviously, we've received some feedback from the team from the community around like wanting to see a little bit more granularity or like detail around the engineering deliverables. So that's one thing that we're going to work towards. What we're actually working on already as we speak. One like a step towards that is actually setting up a new channel directly for the residency in the BuilderDAO Discord server. That's going to help the community stay up to date with what's been building, what we've been working on, and what we're trying to deliver from a product perspective. Yeah.
Awesome. Great to hear.
Can I make a feature request, Isaac?
What is it? Yeah,
Wow.
sure. Go ahead.
Wow, live feature request, Panda. I can't believe you.
Love it.
Yeah. So MF or BuilderDAO, we want to experiment with staking ETH with Lido or Rocket Pool,
Ooh.
actually. I think we definitely prefer Rocket Pool, I think. But from what I understand, that's a little bit more difficult. But it's just kind of intimidating here. I mean, like, for example, I'll show you the nouns. This is nouns prop 227.
Yep.
Which stake this
Mhm.
ETH. I mean, it looks like pretty simple.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm too scared.
Because that's a lot of money that you don't want to play with.
Yeah, although yeah, we're not going to stake 5,000 ETH. We're going to start out a little smaller.
Yeah, no. That's actually a really good feature request. Yeah, I could definitely, no promises though. I can definitely work with the engineers and scope this out and see if it's actually feasible. It looks like it is theoretically. Looks like it's relatively straightforward. But yeah, thanks for that feature request. I'll definitely add it to the roadmap.
And this is new. I used to fiddle around with create proposals quite a bit, but this must be in the last couple of weeks you've added these options. I've never seen this. Create an airdrop.
That's right. So create an airdrop, but obviously you need to have the upgrade proposal executed before we could do that. We've got send ETH as well. If you want to just send ETH directly to a safe or a wallet altogether. One, and then if you haven't noticed, we've also added a link to Nouns Connect directly from the create proposal flow that lets you do some really cool stuff with dApps. For example, you can use the Nouns Connect tool directly with the Zora Create tool to create a proposal for an open edition or a drop. So that's a really cool one as well. The Park. So Derek Taylor from the Park, he's been really, using that in its best way possible. So yeah, we're very excited to see the DAO using all these tools that we've made that's available to them. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I've got to spend some more time here. Yeah. Another feature request, or I'll just mention this, that I think is interesting about us, MF or BuilderDAO. Again, I'm a large token holder and do not buy any of these tokens, not financial advice, all that stuff. But we had some artists who just permissionlessly directed royalties to Art Treasury. So they created art and they pointed their royalties to us. So I wish there was some way to note that, but it's like what we've raised from auctions, what we've spent, what we've raised outside of auctions.
Right. So like some sort of visualization to see the inflows of your treasury.
Yeah, and just like a dashboard almost.
Okay.
Yeah.
So auctions and so auctions would be one of like the channels, and then you've got external you know, ETH coming through from other contracts, right? Or like wallet addresses. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. Yeah, got that down.
We've also got our front end, alt front end, where we give the vote reasons. And I understand why you guys might not want that on the main site, but like for example, here's can you see this? Here's a
Yep.
prop. I propose this to fund our first prop house round. So here we transfer to a safe. It sounds like you're going to make that a lot easier, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But then you can see your reasons, who voted for, who voted against, and boom, you can show a little reason.
Yeah, that's very nice. It's very, very cool.
And I think NeoCry also did something similar. Go ahead.
Yeah, he did do DAO custom website, and then he was tinkering with some AlphaCaster work as well. I think he has a way. So I actually spoke to him earlier, just before this live stream, about potentially showing vote reasons directly on the DAO page, sorry, the proposal page as well. I think that would be very useful for voters to see what's been talked about and why they voted a certain way. So yeah, that could potentially be something that we built in the next month or so, or next couple of months or so.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the different like alternate front ends people build. I can't wait for a notification system across like all the DAOs, like just kind of being able to opt into alerts for when an auction goes live or when a vote comes up or something like that across like 6 different DAOs in one place. So yeah, I'm excited to see what people build.
Yeah, and I'm very excited to see like custom websites for DAOs as well. I think a lot of DAOs have their own brand and aesthetics, and I definitely want to see, especially with what Neo's built recently with the prop house. Like his project was one of the winners for one of the recent prop house rounds for custom DAO websites. I think it'd be really cool. Just to the question earlier about what I want to see in DAOs, like I want to see DAOs really, really leveraging the tools that our community members have already built to help them like make. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the one. Yep. Yeah, I would love to see DAOs creating their own Nounish website themselves, have the auction module, have the whole like on-chain governance component be available and represented in their own way, in a visual sort of language that best represents their DAO as well. I think that'd be very, very cool.
Yeah, I totally agree. I not to like step away from Noun Stop Build, but I love what Zora has done recently with all the custom profiles and it's really amazing the custom mint pages now and all the variety there is. I love it. I can't wait for somebody to just almost build a tool like that where someone could kind of come in and customize their own page in like a really easy to use builder, like a WordPress or something like that, where you could easily put together your own vibe where you don't have to be a coder and necessarily fork some code, but just kind of come in and customize and be unique.
Yep. Yeah. The mint page is actually a really good example of that. Like we've seen how powerful it has been for creators. Zora creating their own customized mint page or customized experience for their audience, for their fans, for their collectors, and I definitely want to see that sort of spirit coming over to the Nounish ecosystem as well. Yeah.
Hey, one other thing I want to cover is L2s. Shout out to ZK Sync, actually, who hosted a Noun Stop Build meetup at ETH Denver up on the third floor. But yeah, I think L2 DAOs with just super low fees, but the security of ETH, I think those are going to be really interesting, like microtransaction DAOs almost.
Yep.
You think about like at a restaurant they ask you to round up to donate to charity or something. If you think about like tokens on that scale or that size. So my question though is basically, what would it take would Zora deploy to an L2? Or I mean, all the contracts are open source now, so I guess anyone could already. Or
That's
can you
right.
talk me through kind of the L2 landscape?
Yeah, I think undeniably the L2 space is just purely from a technology point of view and user experience point of view. It's very exciting for sure. And honestly, I feel like if someone in the community wants to do it and if they come up with a proposal for it, I reckon the DAO is actually going to fund it. It's public good, right? And then that's another really powerful way for us to proliferate the Nanish model outside of just L1s, right? You could go into different L2s. I could even see the Nanish model going into, different chains, but obviously there's not a conversation for that. The point is, it's open source. Builders can fork it easily, adapt it, and really experiment with different ways and how this could look like on L2s, on alternative chains. But yeah, I think I think back to my early point, if someone wants to do it, the DAO is probably going to fund it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we just need to find a builder who can do that.
Yeah. Maybe that's you. Maybe that's you and Mark like the DAO.
Yeah, I've got a lot on my plate. But it's certainly something that I think obviously has product market fit. Like as you say, it has funding. It sounds like to a competent builder. There's, I mean, tons of funding in the L2 space with all that competition. So I imagine it's going to come out pretty soon on Optimism or
Yeah.
ZK or Scroll or who knows. Could we do a quick run through of the builder repo on GitHub here?
Yes, we can. But caveat is that I might not be the best person to answer like any technical questions, but I can try my best.
Yeah, I'm not the right person to ask these kinds of questions, but when you say like it's open source, I just typed in github.com/rzora, and then second one here is nouns builder public, right? So
That's right.
this is all the code.
Yep, that is all the code. That's the front end code, front end motor repo. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Is the code for the Solidity also here somewhere, or?
There is a nouns protocol as well. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Based on my understanding, that we use the nouns protocol, this one specific that you're seeing here as well. But I guess that's a different sort of work stream, if that makes sense. I think the front end has a different work stream. The protocol has a different work stream altogether. Yeah.
And Nouns Connect, this is that new feature that will allow you to kind of simulate connecting with the DAO's wallet to interact with DApps.
That's right.
Yeah, so this is here too, and this is just out in the open here on GitHub. Anyone can take a look. I assume anyone can fork
Ian
it.
And Dane. Yep, that's right. You can.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't have any technical questions. I just wanted to show that off. It is very kind of central to being Nounish is to just have open GitHub repos
I think that would be really cool too. So the other thing as well, if you could go back to the repo, is we've actually made the Figma files for Nouns Builder public as well.
Oh, amazing.
So if you go to Nouns Builder, Yep, just announce builder repo. Yep. And then you go to scroll all the way down to the contributing.md section. Yep, contribution guideline. Yep. Now you should see the designs. Yeah. So that's the
Awesome.
Figma file. That's also public. I think the idea behind it was like, if we're making the front end public, may as well. You know, I see there's a lot of there's a lot of value in making the design files public as well. So I think the other thing that I've been thinking about as well, it's if I'm not technical, if I'm not an engineer or a dev, how can I best contribute to this? And we figured out that actually, you know, even designers could get in the mix and contribute to this project if they want to. And this file could be very much the kind of how they built context around what was built, why it was built, some of the components that we use, some of the design system that we use for this app, for this product. Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this. I spent a lot of time in Figma. I'm not a designer. This is really cool.
Yeah. And as you know, Zora designers are world class. So some of the best works right here.
Amazing. Can you shout out any designers in particular? You mentioned a team that did the logo branding, and I can't remember what you said, but could you shout them out? And then,
Yeah.
any individual designers? I'd love to talk about that.
I'm not sure if I should dox them or anything like that, but in general, like, it's Imagination Studio from Zora. If you've seen all the Zorbs that's on Zora's Twitter, or like all of the really, really beautiful artwork that's coming out of Zora's Twitter account, like, it's Imagination Studio. Shout out to them for some of the best aesthetics work in the space, not just in the space, but I guess in the world of design in general. Like, they've done amazing work, and obviously to the design team that's been working on Mounts Builder. They put in a lot of effort and work around, like, really thinking through the user problem and how to best deliver the best user experience possible with the tool. So yeah, I really appreciate working with them.
This is incredible. This is obviously Playground as a WIP work in progress.
That's
These
right.
are like the initial designs. This is amazing.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to have a lot of fun learning here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, this has been really great. A lot of cool stuff here for people to dig into. This is awesome that we could share the Figma file and all these things with the viewers and everybody in the server to kind of build off of. Yeah, thank you so much for your time and walking us through all of this. Anything that you kind of want to share from the team that we kind of haven't gone over for anybody listening in? Any hot tips or anything before we sign off?
No, I guess, like, in general, just follow Mounts Builder on Twitter. Get into Discord. Start getting get involved with the Discord channel. I think it's very important to just it's a community, right? We're collecting together, so we're creating together. I want to get everyone involved within the space and to proliferate the knowledge model, as a collective. So that's one, and definitely check out the open source repo. We're definitely in the early stages of open sourcing the repo. We're definitely getting more contributors on board. If you come across any bugs, feel free to start a discussion and get on GitHub. If you have some feature requests, start a discussion. And if you want to submit a pull request, start a discussion. We'll review them as soon as we can. But yeah, Mounts Builder is definitely going through an inflection point, as I call it, where and we're definitely figuring it out as a DAO as well as a tool to really proliferate this entirely new paradigm of DAO governance to the wider crypto space. Yeah, so yeah, thank you so much for having me on this live stream. Appreciate that.
Hey, thank you so much for coming, Isaac. Best way to keep in touch with you, I assume, is Twitter at Isaac CYN.
CYN. Yeah, that's right. Just drop me a DM. I'm on Twitter pretty much every day. Part of my job, which is great. So, yeah.
That's
Awesome.
Thank you, Isaac. Really appreciate your time.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me. Hope this was good. See you guys around.
Awesome. Thanks, Isaac.
Have a good one.
We'll see you. We'll see you next time. Again, this was special live stream here put on by a Prop House Round, funded by Nouns Builder DAO. We will be following the space closely. Obviously, it's a lot of fun. Mike, any closing thoughts?
No. Again, thank everybody so much for listening in. And thank Isaac and the entire Zora team for giving up some of your time. I know you guys are super busy. Can't wait to see what the future holds. Thanks again.
All right.
See ya.
All right.
Thank you.